Raising the stakes. President Bush demands China return the U.S. spy plane and crew now.
It is time for our servicemen and women to return home.
CBS News obtains new pictures and new details of the damaging mid-air collision that started it all. The standoff in the Far East helped send stock prices south. A high-profile case of air rage. The verdict is in. And Eye on America. Can a pharmacist deny you a prescription based on her beliefs?
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. The rhetoric is rising in the standoff between the United States and China over the U.S. Navy plane. President Bush today demanded that China release the crew and return the plane now. China blames the entire incident on the United States and demands an apology. The U.S. said in effect, don't hold your breath. It's been 3 days since the U.S. Navy aircraft landed on Chinese soil after colliding in midair with a Chinese military plane. Today, U.S. diplomats were finally allowed into a Chinese airbase for a limited meeting with the 24 American men and women, but the damaged and super-secret spy plane is in Chinese hands alone. That base is on Hainan Island in the South China Sea. CBS's David Martin begins CBS extensive coverage of a potentially dangerous situation.
After cooling his heels for the better part of 3 days, an American general was finally allowed to meet with the crew. And according to President Bush, they're okay.
The general tells me they are in good health. They suffered no injuries, and they have not been mistreated.
And lucky to be alive. According to the crew's account of the collision with the Chinese jet, the Navy plane lost one propeller, had another damaged, lost part of its nose cone, and dropped several thousand feet before the pilot could regain control. The fact that the crew was allowed to tell this harrowing tale was the first and only sign of progress.
I'm encouraged by the fact that the meeting is taking place. It shouldn't have taken this long to happen, but now that it has happened, I hope this starts us on a road to a full and complete resolution of this matter.
But Secretary of State Powell also expressed the Bush administration's growing frustration with the Chinese refusal to release the crew and the plane.
I must say I'm a little concerned about the way in which the Chinese government has handled this matter. We could have resolved it much earlier.
U.S. spy satellites have seen an increasing level of activity around the Navy plane. Parts of it are covered by tarps, and Pentagon officials say the Chinese are clearly mining a bonanza of high-tech spy gear used to monitor Chinese communications.
Obviously, the longer they have it, they'll have access to that equipment. So clearly time is a factor.
The crew had orders to destroy sensitive equipment, but only had 20 minutes between the time the plane collided with the Chinese jet and the time it landed.
I am sure that they did everything within their capabilities to carry out their responsibilities with respect to destroying any sensitive equipment that they were required to destroy.
Today's meeting was conducted under prisoner-like ground rules. The Americans could only meet with the crew in a group with Chinese officials present and could only ask questions about health and safety. Requests for any more meetings have to be submitted in writing.
The crew says they were taken off the plane at gunpoint, but China contends they are not being held prisoner. The Chinese call it protective custody. Dan?
David Martin at the Pentagon. Whatever China calls it, President Bush's message to Beijing tonight is it is time to send the 24 Americans home along with the aircraft. CBS's John Roberts is at the White House with the latest on the president and the China challenge. John?
Dan, the White House continues to press the point tonight that this was an accident in international airspace and that the United States has nothing to apologize for. As for when the accident could become an international incident, the White House will not say, but the president warned today any further delay could take the two countries down a slippery slope.
We have allowed the Chinese government time to do the right thing. But now, it is time for our servicemen and women to return home. And it is time for the Chinese government to return our plane. This accident has the potential of undermining our hopes for a fruitful and productive relationship between our two countries.
That was a shot straight across the bow of the Chinese leadership. The message is clear. No one is at fault here. There is a lot at stake and on the table between the two countries. Don't risk it by letting the military hardliners run the show. Dan?
John Roberts. The larger context of this confrontation with China includes President Bush's decisions coming in the next few weeks about selling new, more sophisticated weaponry to Taiwan, something the mainland Chinese strongly oppose. And while the U.S. presses for a diplomatic solution that leads to an early return of both plane and crew, China holds to the line it took from the start. CBS's Barry Peterson has that part of the story from Beijing.
His anger barely concealed. China's chief foreign ministry spokesman lashed out at the U.S., insisting the U.S. admit blame in no uncertain terms.
The U.S. started this. We are the victims here. I would like to remind you of that. The U.S. should accept full responsibility and apologize to the Chinese government and to the Chinese people.
And on Chinese television tonight, this nation saw President Jiang Zemin and heard his claim that China has evidence the U.S. plane violated accepted flight rules when it hit the Chinese jet. But the American side is making no concessions.
I think our general outlook ought to be towards solving the problem rather than working on blame.
Still, this retired Navy fighter pilot is annoyed by the accusations.
I have been repressing my sailor language the last couple of days, and I hope we can get on to a solution and get communications.
But the Chinese position is hardening, even if good relations with the U.S. are at stake.
It depends on what kind of attitude the U.S. side takes.
The indications are this crisis is not going to be solved easily or soon. Indeed, the Chinese tonight would not rule out the possibility they might prosecute the American crew under Chinese law for violating this country's airspace and killing one of its pilots. Barry Peterson, CBS News, Beijing.
For perspective on this, I spoke a short time ago with a man who knows China well, the former U.S. Senator from Tennessee and former U.S. Ambassador to China, Jim Sasser. I asked him whether the USA should apologize, as the Chinese insist.
No, I don't think so. Our craft was in international waters. At least that's what our calculations show. I don't think we need to make an apology to the Chinese. But by the same token, I think we need to be not bellicose in our statements towards them. So far, I think the administration has had a very measured approach, and I think that's the way to approach it.
Why should Americans not now consider their fellow Americans' uniform as prisoners of the Chinese?
Let's give this thing some time. The Chinese move very slowly. It takes them a while to get all the stars in alignment, all of these bureaucracies singing off the same sheet of music. My guess is right now the Chinese Foreign Ministry is working diligently trying to bring the Chinese military, the People's Liberation Army, along. In due course, they will, and these people will be released.
Give me a time frame. When should we consider this serious, if not at least on the brink of being a crisis?
If we don't get our people home by this weekend, then I think, or if they're not released by this weekend, then I think we're moving in the direction of a very serious situation, a grave situation. And the Chinese need to understand that.
Jim Sasser. Nowhere is there more concern for the American detainees in China than at their home base in Washington State. There and in other hometowns around the country, CBS's Jerry Bowen reports families of the Navy flyers are following what's now a tradition when Americans are held against their will in foreign lands.
The yellow ribbons went up today at Whidbey Island Naval Air Station north of Seattle, home to the 24 crew members and a spy plane similar to this one now in Chinese hands. 23-year-old Ramon Mercado was one of those on board. Back home in California, his father says he has faith in President Bush.
The Chinese are teaching us cat and mouse game. I think America will do what needs to be done.
Whidbey Island is known as the electronic warfare capital of the world. Sub-hunters and radar scramblers fly out of here. What the Chinese may learn now worries Darlene Edmonds. Her ex-husband Joe is a crew member.
Because they were able to go through the plane, they know too much already.
Petty Officer Jeremy Crandall joined the Navy out of high school in Poplar Grove, Illinois, turned 20 just the day before this mission.
He's been trained for this. I mean, I never thought he'd ever need it, but it may be very handy now.
On Staten Island, New York, yellow ribbons went up for Kenneth Richter, his sister's handiwork.
Just show China that these are people, human beings, and they need to be returned to their families.
And in Rock Creek, Ohio, people can't quite believe what's happened to crew member Wendy Westbrook.
I think she's more adventurous than any of her teachers here thought she was.
Back at Whidbey Island, families kept quiet today, but were said to be angry at the Chinese as the crew's wing commander is defiant.
I don't see where an apology is necessary. This was clearly an accident. Those of you who have seen the aircraft realize it's something akin to a flying pig. It does not maneuver well.
And so far, the diplomatic maneuvering isn't going much better for the troubled spy mission that, in this part of the world, used to be considered routine. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Whidbey Island Naval Air Station.
The U.S.-China standoff only added to the worries on Wall Street, where new warnings today about falling corporate profits sent the Dow down 292 points. The Nasdaq lost 109. CBS News business correspondent Anthony Mason is on the Market Watch.
Another tech tumble sent the Nasdaq down 6% today to its lowest levels in 2.5 years. The Dow followed, falling nearly 300 points.
When you get in a downtrend like this, the good days are the days you only go down 100, and the bad days are the days you go down 300.
The weight on the markets, more poor corporate earnings reports.
No doubt about it. It's shaping up to be another very dismal earnings season.
First Call's Chuck Hill says corporate earnings plunged 8.5% in the first quarter.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Instead, investors were murdering stocks. After the internet software company Inktomi announced it'll cut a quarter of its workforce, the stock fell 55% today. From $191 a share a year ago, Inktomi is now $2 and change. The tensions in China gave Wall Street another reason to worry.
And they've been selling in companies that do business in China, and just overall malaise relative to a confrontation with a major world power.
Prudential's Larry Wachtel says not even Alan Greenspan's rate cuts have been able to lift the market's dark mood.
You know, the Fed has eased on 3 occasions, and we're still in the soup here. So we can't even count on the Fed.
Predictions that the economy would turn around in the summer have now been tossed out the window. Corporate profits are really what makes stocks go up and down, and many now believe profits won't begin to rebound before the end of the year. Dan?
Anthony Mason, thanks. Next here on the CBS Evening News, the airline passenger rage trial verdict that could enrage airline employees. And then later, Eye on America, prescription for a court battle. At issue, the personal beliefs of this pharmacist.
You ready, guys? This could be the ride of your life. You gotta get past the myths and the excuses. Erectile difficulty is a common problem. Effective treatment is available. Talk to your doctor. You might be surprised how easily you can get through it.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. Better than he was before. Better, stronger, faster.
Introducing the all-new 270-horsepower Chevy Trailblazer, the most powerful mid-size sport utility in the world. It's one strong SUV. The new 2002 Chevy Trailblazer, like a rock.
There's new hope for people with rheumatoid arthritis, a prescription drug that relieves pain and inhibits the progression of joint damage. It's called Remicade. Your doctor may prescribe Remicade if you're on methotrexate already and not responding well. You take 1 dose of Remicade every 8 weeks after the first 3 doses. Of course, Remicade is not for everyone. Serious infections requiring hospitalization have been reported. If you are prone to or have a history of infections, currently have one, or develop one while taking Remicade, tell your doctor right away. There's a risk of serious infusion reactions with hives, difficulty breathing, and low blood pressure. Ask your rheumatologist about Remicade, an inhibiting progression of joint damage.
For all those who have difficulty bathing, and for all those who care for them, take comfort.
Take comfort, take comfort. There's comfort bath, take comfort.
Comfort Bath. Thick as a washcloth, disposable Comfort Bath can be microwaved for a warm, soothing bath. Comfort Bath leaves skin soft and smooth.
There's comfort bath, take comfort.
Look for Comfort Bath at your drugstore.
Israelis and Palestinians fought another round in their 6-month-old conflict today, with Israeli helicopter gunships blasting offices of Yasser Arafat's Palestinian Authority. This followed a Palestinian mortar attack on a Jewish settlement in the Gaza Strip that critically wounded a baby boy and injured his mother. There's a new potential sore point tonight in U.S. relations with Japan, and here it is. The USS Chicago, a nuclear-powered submarine, docked in southwestern Japan. It arrived without giving Japan the required 24 hours advance notice. Japan's foreign minister is demanding a full explanation. The U.S. Navy says it was, quote, an administrative error. In this country, a verdict today in a high-profile case involving rising tempers over airline flight delays. And as CBS's Jim Axelrod reports, the airline is calling the verdict a case of justice delayed and denied.
And you're not helping me. The anger seen every day in airports, not a happy camper, has been on display in its pure form in a New Jersey courtroom. A dispute between a passenger and a Continental Airlines gate agent left the agent with a broken neck and the passenger facing the possibility of 10 years in prison.
I just told the truth. It was easy.
John Davis was in line to board a flight when his 18-month-old daughter wandered down the jetway at Newark Airport. Davis, say prosecutors, became enraged when the agent prevented Davis's wife from getting the girl, and Davis attacked the agent. Davis acted out his defense.
He did just like this.
That the agent grabbed his neck first, forcing Davis to put him in a bear hug. Either way, in the struggle, the agent's head hit the floor, leaving him in a coma for 5 days.
How does the jury find, as to count 1, charging the defendant with aggravated assault in that he caused or attempted to cause serious bodily injury?
Not guilty. The verdict left the agent disagreeing with what's left of his mobility. The Davis family wiping away tears.
It's hard to put in words. I'm just glad it's over.
And his lawyer expressing a thought that may explain the jury's decision.
When you're sitting next to somebody with a wife and children who was doing nothing more than going to Disney World, and he's confronted in a situation like any one of us could be confronted with, and he was innocent.
With frustration wafting through air travel now the way cigarette smoke did a generation ago, experts are not surprised.
Most of the people in the jury have experienced these kinds of delays and could certainly have put themselves in the position of this father and husband.
Continental Airlines says while justice wasn't served, this wasn't a case of air rage and had nothing to do with the frustrations of flying. Despite what many consumers might say, Continental maintains this dispute could have happened anywhere. Jim Axelrod, CBS News, New York.
We have a follow-up for you on a story we reported last night. 4 days after he fled house arrest at a Tampa drug treatment center, former baseball slugger Darryl Strawberry is back in custody. Florida prosecutors say they will seek to jail Strawberry for violating probation, even though he's being treated for both colon cancer and drug addiction. CBS Next, Eye on America. It's an approved drug. So why does this pharmacist refuse to dispense it?
When dentures dream, they see the perfect denture cleanser. One with the stain-fighting power of Efferdent and the freshening power of Listerine. Well, little friend, dream no more. It's really here. It's called Efferdent Plus. It's extra fresh, and nothing gets your dentures cleaner. Efferdent Clean and Listerine Fresh. That's Efferdent Plus.
Glade Plug-ins Scented Oil.
It doesn't fade.
It doesn't fade away.
It
doesn't fade.
Plug it in, plug it in.
Scented oil makes this the best plug-ins ever.
Plug it in, plug it in.
Because oil freshens from the first drop to the last without quickly fading away.
Fresh in 60 days, freshens in a new way. Plug it in, plug it in.
Now available in 2 new fragrances, Floral Breeze and Refreshing Citrus.
Plug it in.
S.C. Johnson, a family company.
When I had started, we could walk into the back of production and say, who's got Bill Johnson's computer? And someone in manufacturing would say, I do, Mo. And they, you know, that's got to go today. You know, I promised my firstborn that would be on a truck tonight, and they'd say it's done. And people that work at Gateway are extremely passionate about working with people and helping people.
Just how powerful are new Whisk laundry tablets? So powerful, it's as if dirt never happened at all. Whisk Dual Action Tablets.
What will it take for you to talk to your doctor about Zocor? Zocor, be there.
Most dancers are afraid of losing a step. After I had my stroke, I was afraid I'd never dance again. Now I take Bayer aspirin every day, like my doctor said, to help prevent another stroke.
Aspirin is not appropriate for everyone, so be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen.
Now I'm performing more than ever. And when my body is sore, I take extra strength Bayer. It's that strong. It's great to be back.
Bayer. Take it for pain, take it for life.
FDA investigators are out today with a disturbing finding about the food supply. Many food makers do not list ingredients that may trigger potentially deadly allergic reactions in some people. Also tonight, a new warning about the growing impact of Alzheimer's disease, medical and financial. The latest projections given to Congress indicate a coming wave of aging baby boomers with Alzheimer's could overwhelm Medicare in the next decade. Tonight's Eye on America is a hard news look at another medical and moral dilemma. This one's headed to court. CBS's Cynthia Bowers has the facts on the pharmacist who wouldn't follow the boss's or doctor's orders to fill certain legal prescriptions.
Pharmacist Karen Brower is caught in a moral vice, balancing personal beliefs against professional responsibilities.
So when you went to work for Kmart, what did you tell them up front?
I told them which drugs I don't dispense.
That decision got her fired from the Cincinnati area Kmart when she refused to dispense a certain birth control pill, Micronor.
It stops human life approximately a week after it has started.
Brower, employed by Kmart for 7 years, sued the company. Her situation highlights a growing dilemma facing pharmacists. With new morning-after contraceptives on the market, many say they are being called upon to be part of an abortion procedure, with their jobs on the line if they refuse.
Is the law going to compel a pharmacist to engage in an abortion procedure which violates their conscience? I think the answer has to be no.
Do you think that to some extent by refusing to give out certain medications you're imposing your beliefs and values on other people?
I believe that when someone asks me to give out something that I think is killing, they're definitely imposing their beliefs on me.
Kmart won't discuss this case, but says it reasonably accommodates associates' beliefs unless the accommodation causes undue hardship. Ohio is one of a number of states considering legislation to protect conscientious objectors. But critics feel laws like these are simply a smokescreen designed to limit a patient's access to controversial but legally prescribed drugs. And on top of that, they're simply bad for business.
If they're turned away by the pharmacist, they're not going to leave their prescription and say, I'd be happy to come back tomorrow. There's too many other opportunities for them to drive 2 blocks down the street to another pharmacy and get that prescription filled.
When Brower's case goes to trial next month, a court will be asked to decide for the first time if and when a pharmacist's beliefs outweigh a company's right to sell and a customer's right to buy. In Cincinnati, I'm Cynthia Bowers for Eye on America.
Faced with mounting financial losses, the U.S. Postal Service is looking to cut costs and is now considering a drastic step. The Post Office said today it is studying the possibility of ending mail deliveries on Saturdays.
arthritis, I thought my gardening days were over. But my doctor said activity helps. And to make it easier, he recommends Advil. Nothing's been proven stronger on arthritis pain. Advil works beautifully.
Advil, stronger than pain.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today.
I should have used Preparation H.
New Preparation H medicated wipes with aloe, the easy way to cleanse, cool, and soothe. Easier because they're 4 times bigger than Tux pads. New Preparation H medicated wipes. Big relief.
I need to feel strong.
I need her.
Because we all need something different to feel our best. One A Day has created different formulas. One especially for women. One for men. One for people over 50. One A Day. We've got just what you need.
You'd try anything to get some relief from your nasal allergy symptoms. But before you change your life, make an easier change. Ask your doctor about Flonase. Multi-symptom Flonase relieves all these nasal allergy symptoms: sneezing, itchy, runny nose, and congestion. Multi-symptom Flonase once a day relieves them all day and night. For best results, use daily. Side effects are generally mild and may include headache, nosebleed, or sore throat. Call to learn more. So before you change your life, make an easier change. Ask your doctor about multi-symptom Flonase. When you get it all it takes is Flonase.
Oh, I don't believe this. What? Well, look what she's using to clean that window. Windex. Ain't that what they're supposed to use? Well, yeah, if you want a clean window. Ah, look at him, huh? He's got that other stuff nice and streaky. Oh, come on. Windex even cleans what the other stuff leaves behind. So? So, a bird could get hurt flying into a window like that.
The difference is clear. For a streak-free shine every time, Windex is best on glass.
What's this? New mountainberry scent. Fresh.
See how beautiful 60 can look. See how invisible osteoporosis can be. If you're over 60, there's a nearly 1 in 2 chance you have it. So ask your doctor about a bone density test and treatments that can help.
This weekend, Enterprise Rent-A-Car announces special low rates from just $9.99 a day. Friday till Monday from just $9.99 a day. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
1-800-RENT-A-CAR.
Jerry, the latest survivor voted out of the tribe, had one question for everyone.
Where's Bryant?
Thursday morning, Jerry comes back to the early show to meet Bryant Gumbel.
Updating tonight's top story in tomorrow's headlines and front page pictures, 24 U.S. Navy flyers and their damaged reconnaissance plane remain in China tonight, 3 days after they made an emergency landing at a Chinese air base. Tonight, the world got its first look at the Navy plane and the damage it suffered in Sunday's collision, considerable damage to the front of the plane and to some of the propellers in that collision with a Chinese jet. 2 U.S. officials were finally permitted to visit the detainees at the Chinese base today. They said all of them were in good health. President Bush today demanded the Chinese release the detainees and return the aircraft. China is demanding an apology. And that's part of our world tonight. I'll be back later this evening with the CBS News doubleheader. First on 60 Minutes 2, the story of a tax revolt among businessmen who are illegally refusing to withhold taxes from their employees. Plus, a step-by-step look at shock treatment, how it's done and why more and more Americans are getting it. And then 48 hours, a deceptive new drug is putting college women in danger.
It is the perfect rape weapon.
48 Hours investigates tonight. Mark it, please. 60 Minutes 2 tonight at 9, 8 Central, followed immediately by 48 Hours at 10, 9 Central. For the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting. See you again soon tonight.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News.
Quick and simple age-based testing for senior drivers tomorrow. Experience CBS News.
Coming up on News Channel 5 at 6, a man wanted to get back at his ex-wife, and police say his plot was a first.
Police are searching for a missing 11-year-old boy who didn't make it home from school yesterday. We'll tell you where they're searching coming up in a live report.
And severe thunderstorms now moving into the northwestern part of our viewing area. We'll have the latest from the Storm 5 Weather Center. The news is right here, right now.
From your news and information leader, this is News Channel 5 at 6 with Chris Clark and Vicki Yates.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Clark.
And I'm Vicki Yates.
Some severe weather heading toward Middle Tennessee.
Our expert chief meteorologist Ron Howes is in the Storm 5 Weather Center.
And Ron, how bad do you expect things to get tonight?
Well, it appears that the principal threat with this storm cluster is straight line damaging winds and possibly some large hail. The good news is it doesn't seem to be getting any stronger. Let's go to Storm Target 5 now. And we'll show you that storm cluster moving down into Callaway County. And Callaway County, Kentucky is lighted up here because it is under a